And yesterday, Oregon Duck N'Faly Dante got some news from the NCAA that is kind of forcing his hand. He has been rejected for an additional year of eligibility by the NCAA, despite the fact that within the rules for a medical hardship waiver in the NCAA, this is what it says. In team sports, the athlete cannot have participated in more than 30% of competitions or 3 contests, whichever is greater. In individual sports, the athlete cannot have participated in more than 30% of the maximum number of competition dates. The athlete also cannot play in a game after the season's midpoint. Okay? In the 2020-2021 season, for the Oregon Ducks, N'Faly Dante played in 6 games before tearing his ACL. Okay? Mm-hmm. The NCAA rejected his waiver for a medical hardship. 6 of the 28 games Oregon played, which is 21% of competition, which falls under the medical hardship waiver requirements.
And yet,
he was denied. Enter Jay Billis. And this is exactly what we were talking about earlier. Why the NCAA keeps losing in all of their lawsuits, right?
Zero consistency and a penchant for being petty a-holes.
Now, Jay Billis steps in from ESPN and goes, the NCAA's treatment of Oregon's N'Faly Dante is simply outrageous. This young man has done everything the NCAA claims it wants in an athlete. Dante has been injured throughout his career, has played 2 full seasons less than players like Armando Bacot, North Carolina. Yet he's denied an additional year due to injury, ending his career. Absurd. Dante's a model athlete and person, wants to come back and play and advance his education, and has never asked his school for anything. When the NCAA says, quote, athlete welfare, it rings hollow. The NCAA needs to do the right thing, allow Dante his additional year immediately. I agree with him, because we know that 2020-2021 season, 6 games, torn ACL, right? Also, he only played in 12 games the previous year due to an ACL injury.
Also COVID.
And the COVID year. Now, a medical hardship during a COVID year, I don't know how they're going to handle that. That's why I didn't take the 1920 year into consideration, right? Because they all got the freebie year out of that. I don't know what you like. Do they give you the additional year because you have the medical? You qualify for both, right?
Just give him the damn year.
Yeah.
What are we doing here?
I don't know.
There's no rhyme or reason to this.
Yeah.
What's the tight end at Oregon now down in Florida?
Cam McCormick.
McCormick, and you're literal 8 or 9.
He's getting his 9th year of eligibility.
So what are we doing here?
I don't know. And that's the arbitrary rulings going back and forth. The young man fits the criteria that the NCAA has set forth for medical.
And this is not a done
waivers.
deal. Oregon is going to appeal.
Yeah,
and I have a reeling suspicion they're going to win.
I believe they will too. I believe they will too, because this is what the NCAA does. Tez Walker, what they do is they lay down these rulings like, yeah, we did our job. And it's like,
we justified our existence, but we did it in a way that doesn't make any actual sense. Yay!
And then every single person with a brain goes,
what are you doing, you morons?
And they backtrack. That's how it works.
Well, this is the kind of thing that can get taken to a court.
Yeah.
And they'll lose there too.
Yeah. So N'Faly Dante, not eligible right now. Mm-hmm. Could be eligible.
The reason he's coming back is unfortunately, he just got too many red flags.
And he will, of course, he has 2 major knee injuries.
Yeah, and he's just too,
well, the Blazers could draft him.
Don't say that. Then it gives fuel to the idiots. Don't do that. But no, I had a lot of Oregon fans. Dante's going to make it to the NBA. I'm like, he's going to go through his medicals, and they're going to go, oh, dear sweet baby Jesus, no.
It's just not fun.
And that's what happened. Look, as a rim running, big bodied, long arm, because he measured incredibly well at the combine. came at as a 6'10" dude with crazy long arms.
And he's got bounce to him too.
Yeah,
he's got
I think
bounce,
he
he
had
got
a,
pop.
I think he had a +8 wingspan, which is otherworldly. That's the kind of thing where if you're a scout or evaluator, you go, I'm sorry, can you measure that again, please? Because that doesn't happen. Like when you're +4, you're already in like a pretty good group. When you're +6, like, oh yeah, this guy can really be disruptive. You're +8, that's absolutely bonkers.
Yeah.
Bonkers. For those that don't understand.
+8
the
what?
+8 inches difference between his height and his wingspan.
Yeah, okay.
No, I got you.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
Those are long arms.
Those are long arms because he's 6'10".
He can be a disruptor.
Yeah, and it's like as a second round flyer, absolutely. But instead, he'll hopefully go back to Oregon, and Oregon will pay him handsomely with a nice little fat NIL check, and that'll be kind of their way of, him making some money, and then maybe taking a flyer as an undrafted guy next year.
Do we like that? That is where we're at with sports. Like the COVID year, like it's so hard for me to wrap my head around like what year guys are. I'm glad that we're kind of phasing out of that.
Yeah. 2018 to 2024 is a window into time that it's all the same.
I wonder how, like, because I'm indifferent to it. Like what I love about college sports is name recognition, following a player and learning who they are and staying there, right? And all the people that are deterred by the one and dones or early entrants into drafts. I wonder how people feel though about the fact that the NCAA just like being more lenient in handing over years of eligibility, because I don't have an issue with it at all. Like I don't care. Should a guy be there for 9 years? Probably not. No, but a fifth year of eligibility or a sixth year of eligibility, I have zero issue with it. It doesn't matter where they go to school. I mean, would it be aggressive to see Greg Paulus again playing his 6th year at point guard for Duke? I felt like I saw that anyways.
Yeah, I mean, Perry Ellis III spent like 7 years at Kansas.
I know, it was
Hunter
crazy.
Dickinson is in like year 12 in college basketball. He's coming back to Kansas.
But if they actually played 6 years, I really wouldn't care. Like it doesn't bother
he's going to
me.
have an advantage. Really? Because we saw these 24-year-olds in college and it was like,
do people, I wonder, I would love to hear your feedback on the Vancouver Ford text line, 503-864-6326, or, you can tweet at us at Danny and Dusty on Twitter, at Dusty_Hera, or at Danny Meringue. I would love to hear what people think of this idea that we could get extra years of eligibility for things, like injury, or because the COVID year, I just don't know what year guys are anymore, but are we as beholden to 4 years is what you do anymore? Because I sit there and I say, hell, it doesn't have to be just missing like 70% of your season. Like if you miss half a year,
yeah, that's a big chunk, man.
And it's a big opportunity for you to earn money at for the next level.
And not only that, like, was college football robbed or put in a worse position because Penix and Nix got additional years?
No, I thought it was.
In fact,
great
was it probably better?
It was great for them. It was great for the sport too,
great
because
their programs.
You had and I look at Dylan Gabriel's another guy. Like
yes.
Everybody's like, oh, Bo Nix's record will never be broken until Dylan Gabriel does it this year. Most games played.
Yeah,
like
he has the potential to do it.
If he stays healthy and plays
every
single game,
he will break it.
He's going to break Bo Nix's record.
Because he got on the field and stayed on the field.
Because he's been around for
forever.
Freaking ever. Because he had a catastrophic knee injury when he was at Central Florida. And he has a COVID year too. Like dude drives a minivan. Not because he has kids, but because he can take his wide receivers. But he's of the age where it's like, yeah, that dude should drive a minivan now.
It makes sense. It's a good conventional vehicle that allows you to get things done you need to.
Yeah. The NCAA is just minor leagues now. Who cares? That text coming in. Like, dude, that's how the NFL has always used college athletics.
Mm-hmm.
It's how I've always kind of viewed it. But I think that we kind of are at that level to where it is more accepting, to where it's like 5 years may actually work if a guy can play for 5 years. I would not be stunned one bit.
I don't think you should have to have the grad
norm.
transfer stuff. Like, let him play 5 years. Who cares?
Yeah, just let him go.
Why is that a problem? Like, what are you preventing? What is the argument? Give me the argument against it that makes any rational sense.
To not allow them to play 5
Yeah.
years? Well, because it's the way it has always been.
He's
Yeah.
taking a spot from somebody else. I mean,
Yeah.
or that opens a spot for somebody else because they can't go there.
Yeah. I mean, like, and people say, like, with transfers and all this stuff and moving around and playing all these things, like, I had a great grandfather who played multiple sports in college. He went to a different school every season. He's like at Cal, Texas Tech. He was like everywhere. But that's just the way, like, you could just, back then, you could just go wherever he is. Yeah, we can go ahead and play.
The literal wild, wild west.
Yeah, this text says, I think this is a poor attempt from the NCAA to push back against schools that have been, have benefactors like Phil. They're like that pay players. They'd be fringe G League or NBA because of various reasons they're coming back and making money purely to play a sport.
And who cares?
No.
Who again?
Yeah.
Who? Number one, who cares? Number two, who is it hurting?
And this may be it. What about your average guys who miss out years of starting if a 5 or 6 year guy won't leave?
Go somewhere else and go get the money.
But it's not as penalizing to have that because you can free transfer now.
Yes, and that's my whole point. Like, that's what I said when I asked you, bring me a consideration that actually makes sense. If that spot's not open, then you go somewhere else and you explore another avenue.
Yeah.
Like, I don't. Everybody wants to talk about the free market and the open concept and capitalism and getting guys paid. This is what that looks like.
Yeah. This is a really interesting point for the NCAA.
Which is why I want the NCAA to go away with it, particularly as it pertains to football and basketball. They have no business here.
They do. I mean, they need a governing body.
Not in the way that the NCAA acts, enforces, or interprets anything. Otherwise, they wouldn't get their ass handed to them in court over and over and over and over again.
And there we go. I mean, that is it right there. I mean, you need a governing body the way that they're operating right now. Not it. And we're going to find it's not going to be this way. It will not be this way.
You can't have the old 75-year-old fuddy-duddy folks on these boards. Oh, well, I don't like it. No, go away.